Hello, howdy, how's it going? Just breaking in again with the voice, no silence, just you click the video, I'm already talking. And so we're gonna start with this video. This video is gonna be about this design that I got actually commissioned to do a video of. So it's this design I have that sort of resembles a Mukarna. So I have it right here, off camera here. So this is it. Like this is it, and the idea is that you're gonna sort of pop it into position, right? So the idea is that once you get this, then you can start sort of playing around with what's what. So for instance, in this one, the what's what is located, let me see here. It's not at these bottoms, and it's not here either. So there's a point. It's funny that I was just playing around with this just before the video, going like, all right, I'm gonna review this. So see, the idea is that you sort of like get to click these points, but it's not that one. It's like you want to make a rhombus. That's the base shape, and it's not these either. Yeah, there it is. Pop. No, that's not it either. Where's my rhombus? There it is. I might just start this video over, but no, I'm not. No, wait a minute, I gotta find it. I just had it. It's unbelievable how these things can get lost so easily. So it's not that one. It's not this one either. Not there either. Maybe it's on the other side. Wouldn't you guess it? It's on the other side, of course. So these are the rhombi. You sort of like get to push and pull around, and you can actually play around with them. Like you could not do one, do the other, do one yes, one no. But that design I have on it's on my Instagram account, right? So it's pretty much this design, but I played around with making like a little tower of it. Like half was it, half wasn't. And if I would have extended this pattern enough, it would go around, right? It would go, you know, on a bigger piece of paper. You sort of like start to take it around, and you sort of like get this looking thing, right? It's has these holes in it or something. But it looks nice. It looks nice, and it was compared to a Mukarna. So Mukarnas are this Islamic traditional ornamental 3D design that they sort of use for facades. For facades, I'm not facade in that like it's fake, but like facade, well, at least in Spanish we use that word mostly to refer to the front of the building, or like the main sort of, the first thing you see about a building is a facade, the front of it. I guess that's why they call it a facade, because it's a front, and then when you go inside it's something else. But no, so these designs were built around the walls at the entrance and sometimes within, but the idea is for sort of them to resemble stalagmites and stalactites, right? The things formed in the rock formations, the geology and stuff. We got our piece of paper here. We're going to start by folding this in half. So that design comes about first from the zigzag of rhombs. So pretty much it's a simple design, really. It's a simple design. It uses some fairly simple tools, fairly simple folding tools. So we start by folding it in half like so, and then we take the whole edge and we're just going to put that on the line like so. We're just going to make sure. So let's see, I put that on the line, and then you can see that I'm sort of like sliding it up and down, so I can slide it, and it's going to change my fold here. So there's going to be a point where I'm sliding, like this point is going to be on this wall here, on this line, and down here it's going to be exactly at the corner. Oh, not there either. A little higher, and there we go. So that's the one I want, so that's the one I'm keeping. Why did I stop there? Well, because it's this point over there is spiky. This point over there is flat. And see, the paper sort of wanted to curve, but that's because I did some other folds a little bit. Like this one is sort of like wanting the paper to curve. And the thing is that space, like the space we live in, is curved. And although our tables can look flat, if they were to be extended enough, they would actually have this very slight curvature to them. Inevitable, because like let's say you want to measure the perpendicularity of it. You got one of those bubble things. And that's fine, like wherever you measure it's going to be perpendicular, but like if you put a piece of paper on and start folding it, you're going to see sort of like it's going to be curved, like especially through long folds. You get to see that, appreciate that a bit more. So it's a small piece of paper, the ones that fit in our hands, it's easier to work with and sort of like sort of forget how flat, how curvy space is really. So as you can see, second fold I did, see, one of my mistakes as an origami performer is that I'm turning the paper over, rotating it all around. And sometimes it can get confusing for people that are looking at theirs and looking at mine. It's like, wait a minute, that's not what I was doing. So first off, let's see, I start off here. So yeah, I did it again. So this is what we first did. And then what we want is this fold on the back. So what I do is I turn it over, and then you can see sort of like the shadow of it. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a shadow there in the back. Also, what you can do is you can take this edge and just put it on there. Pop, pop. And that's your fold. And again, this one's spiky, and then it gets there. So we stay here, and then we take this edge, so we're gonna just be mindful of where that's the end of space itself, if you will. We match this line is matching. Just make sure that that is at the right position. And there you go. So up, boom. So if we match this line, then everything should be hunky-dory, because that means that the line we're folding is a perpendicular to this line, and this line is a parallel to the edge itself, so it should work out. Or you can also notice that this one is also falling on itself. So we got this one falling on itself, and this one falling on itself, and this. Exactly at the corner. So we got these three relationships we can keep an eye out for. And what that gives us is a rectangle, which has the base of an equilateral triangle, and the height of an equilateral triangle with the base at the edge. That's pretty much what we did. This is the rectangle we're going to work with. It's easier, it's simple. You can do this with, like, I'm using letter size paper, right? But it doesn't matter, because see, I'm gonna cut it away. It don't matter. And see, if you can do another bounce, so I call these bounces, right? Boop, bounces, hits, and then you can do another bounce. If your paper allows for another bounce, I say go for it. Also, if you want, like I showed with the example, if you want it to actually like curve around in a cylinder, also the longer the piece of paper is, the better. Because if it's too, like, it's about the ratio, not about the size. It's about the scale, not the ratio, the ratio. So when designing, usually the relationship between the design and the world is just like the measurement of the object in which you want to build around for. So let's say you wanted to take this design to cover up a lamp, and you gotta take into account the size of the bulb. You gotta take into account the size of the shape of the thing that you want to sort of cover up. So we're here, and then we're gonna do it. So we gotta just be clear on where this is gonna go. We can do this here way or here way. So we're actually gonna go down. So we're gonna use this angle. These zigzags is what we're gonna use. So we're gonna get this next zigzag in. We're just gonna pretty much just make a high resolution kind of thing. So I'm just gonna keep folding this thing and just keep subtracting it. Just keep making more bits and pieces, making it smaller, making it into smaller triangles. And we're gonna look at the motif just right up next. So we have this one, so we want to go deeper. So what we can do is we want to make it all parallel too. We want to do a zigzag. So the zigzag is gonna go like here, just as much as it's not there, is it? See, there's something we can do. But we need a reference point, so we need this line to cross here. Why? So if we cross this line, now we have a new reference. We have this point. And that point we can do all sorts of matching to get parallel lines. So if I then match this corner to this point, the line I just drew is parallel to this line. These two lines are parallel. And so if I keep this going, so I need another line, like so. Or you could also do it the opposite way, so it goes up there. Another way of looking at exactly this is just that we have a triangle and it's getting cut. You can also fold this in half. And I'm going to take a pencil here. I'm just going to draw in the symmetry lines we're working with. Just to be clear on what I mean. So we have these lines. for this triangle. See, so first we start with the triangle and now we have the lines across it. So within that reference we can then start to work again with the other triangles. So we can also do this one. So what you can do also is work around with motifs. So try to get just like enough triangles to get your effect in, and then sort of break it down to what is happening and how much space you need, and then multiply that space and then sort of try to rearrange that performance, that thing that's happening. So for instance here I want another parallel line, so bringing that down there. Like I want this parallel line. I want it to be at the same distance as well on the other side. So several tricks that we can do. Just do this. Apparently that works. Here, here. Alright, this line matches, so that's one way of doing it. Another way, see, like, I think it was something that differentiates me from other origami artists that do videos, is that I'm sort of creating it as I'm doing the video. Whereas most videos are going like, you know, this is a very clear example of how I did it, like step 1, step 2, step 3, and this is the way, these are the steps, these, you know, these are lines to do. But I'm also trying to show you how these can come about, how these can be created, how you can sort of look at them, and I'm talking at the same time about the creation of them. So that should help. So again, look at how this is sort of happening in this way. So one line becomes the reference for another, right? We started with this line, this fold, and we had this one, so we can just like crumple it down like so, and then this one is achieved because of this. You can just sort of like keep this going, and then we have the last one. So this is what I mean by augmenting the resolution. By the way, if you sort of see little edges of a pencil, this is my marking for the frame of the video. So if they sort of show at any point, it's because the paper sort of knocked them into out of position. Take this pencil out of frame. Sort of arrange that one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 going this way. And then we have the same going the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we just need to compensate things. So we just need to have a little triangles here. So we have it's here. You can clearly see how the triangle is sort of happening. Now we need the other one. Turn it over. So now let's find the zigzags we need. Just for the example, right? Just for what we're talking about. This is the motif, as we call it in the geometric world. So somebody was explaining to me, I'm in this Zoom class now with other origami teachers. Actually, this is like origami math people. Not origami math people, it's just people that are very passionate about origami. And it was put together by Sarah Brewer. She's a mathematics teacher from Alabama, and she knows all these people within the mathematic academic circles, and she put together this little group. It's like a class where we're following Eric Demaine's teachings and whatnot, and then one of the people in there is called, I think his name is John. I forget which school he teaches at, but he was talking about like degrees of freedom. Now it's useful to think about these designs in degrees of freedom. And it might be like to analyze them, because you can actually break down what is happening and how much, but I already forgot that lesson. But for right now, I just want to show you sort of, so one of these lines I'm going to put in as a valley, and the other line I'm going to put in as a mountain. So the zigzags, 1 zigzag, 2 zigzags. So 1 zigzag is a valley, we're going to go in like this. Other zigzag is a mountain, we're going to come out like this. So now, just based on this fact, this one is naturally going to want to become a valley. just as it closes, right? Just on principle. This is mountain, mountain, and then these two are valley. We see that a mountain just appears between. So just in the same fashion, between these two mountains, a valley. Between two valleys, a mountain. Between two mountains, a valley. And so this crushes. And one of the things that happens a lot in origami design is that you got to be patient. Because you're not working with a little bit of space, you're working with the entire universe. So either you find a way to sort of like keep it together enough, that's why people use clothespins, or you do everything. So that's why they do also the pre-creasing on. So you gotta sort of like, you know, build up to it. So we got our zigzags going. And now that I'm looking at it, it seems a little bit wide than the example that I used before. So let's see, let's analyze it. We're using these complete equilateral triangles. So, okay, I'm gonna do another zigzag. But this zigzag I'm gonna do on these lines. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. So these seem to be, these to me seem to be a little, although they might be the ones we're looking for. But it seems strange that these would be the ones we're looking for, because we really want to do a little squash there. So let's see if squash, I don't know, this doesn't look right to me. Now, because in the squash is like this huge thing. No. Let's do the other one. So zigzag now. The new zigzag is gonna go this way. So one sag, one sig, one sag, and then the other one's gonna go opposite, right? So we're just following this pattern of zig and sag. So this one's gonna be a valley. And the next one's gonna be a mountain. And what's cool about origami also is like once you get a little pattern folded in, you can start to play around with it. So this is a very typical pattern. It's called a herringbone. You can do it with any zigzags. You can also see how it's sort of like coming in. This looks righter. This looks better. Although it's cool that there's like several variants to it. So, you know, like even the same thing could be viewed differently. And so we have this. And now here's the kicker. We need to squash these. So this needs to be somehow flat. This looks right. This looks better. So I'm going to sort of hold it in place like so, and then what I'm going to do is sort of like spread it. Now, several ways that we can do this. One way is just to keep this in mind so we can anticipate. So what's going to happen is that these lines are going to sort of separate. So for instance, the line we're looking for is right there. That's the line we need. And also from here to here, and they're all going to be mountains. So if that's a triangle and we have it like this, right? We have it all folded, we can just fold this down like so. Sort of, this is an anticipated move. So with that in mind, we can do that for the next one as well. And the other side as well. Boop, boop, boop. Then we do it on this side too. First we're going to do one side, then we're going to do the other, because it's hard to do it when there's so many overlaps, but you can still do it. You can still sort of like raise those overlaps. Let's make sure that these two are touching down there. And you can bring it down, but we're not going to do this by that way. We're going to do this in another way, but I'm just going to show you several ways to do it. So you see how those folds become the basis for this fold. Yeah, so now that it's flat, we can sort of play around with that, take advantage of it. So would this one be? And also we can use it as a reference for the rest. So what we did here is we changed the folds. We did the fold sideways, but now it's going inwards. It's called squash. So now we got this guy, so we sort of like now open this, but then this guy's going like, no, I'm not open, but we can sort of help him. This would be more of the squash method. Let's see how one consequences into the other. You also see several shapes starting to pop out. Well, if you're paying attention, you should see some stuff. Definitely some stuff is happening. That's like saying nothing, right? Saying that some stuff is happening. Might as well keep quiet. Let the paper do the talking. So this is the motif. This is the motif we're looking for, and then, well, to get that sort of like the rhombuses we were talking about, you sort of now, looking at these, you can sort of start to pop these out like so. Pop, 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 pop. So what I'm going to do this time instead of other times is, so other videos, I would just keep going, just making like a 30-minute video of the same design. But for right now, for this one, I'm going to try to like keep the motif in this video, and I'm going to do the expansion in the next video. So hope you join me then. And this is pretty much the idea of it. So now it's about just augmenting that resolution. And you'll also see that sort of like these need to be brought down. They're on the back, like they have to be sort of submitted. And that's because the resolution is not high enough in order to allow for more interesting occurrences to happen, like in the other one, where sort of like the space itself sort of like limits it. But in here, because it's so small, like the energy is sort of displacing within these very few pieces. There are very few hinges. But it's the idea is here. So we can tuck that in actually. This can get tucked. So see you around next video where we're going to expand this. Let's see how that goes.